Today, Dan's making a burger from scratch. Let's kick it off with pickles. Dan starts by slicing up pickling cucumbers and putting them into jars. He smashes some garlic cloves and throws those in too. Then it's time to prep the pickling liquid. He brings water, apple cider vinegar, and pickling salt to a boil. And then pours the boiling liquid into the jars. He adds in some dried dill and seals them up. The jars should be stored in the fridge for at least 24 hours. Time to start the brioche buns. He kicks it off by combining water, warm milk, yeast, and sugar. In a different bowl, he stirs up some eggs. He adds a combination of bread flour, fine sea salt, and butter to a stand mixer. And then he adds the water, milk, and yeast mixture. Last but not least, those eggs. And it should look like formed dough. He covers with a damp towel and lets rise for 2 to 3 hours. Did you know you can make American cheese? He starts by mixing unflavored gelatin and water. Then it's time to shred the cheese. Lots of Colby Jack cheese. He adds dried milk powder, salt, cream of tartar, and mixes in the food processor. He heats up some milk, then adds in that gelatin mixture, and combines that in the food processor too. Using a loaf pan lined with plastic wrap, he pours the cheese mix, covers tightly, and lets it cool in the fridge for at least 3 to 4 hours. It's time for meat. On Dan's chopping block, he's got chuck steak, boneless ribs, and bacon. That's right, bacon. He starts by cutting everything into even small chunks so it'll grind evenly. And then, it's into the grinder. Time to add melted butter and Worcestershire sauce. He gives it a good mix and then presses them into the patty mold between 2 pieces of wax paper. And there you have it, burger patties. But what's a burger without condiments? First up, ketchup. He starts by chopping white onions, pressing garlic, grating ginger, and cutting up, you guessed it, a bunch of tomatoes. He starts with olive oil and cooks down the onions. Adds in crushed red pepper flakes, ground allspice, tomato paste, brown sugar, apple cider vinegar, and salt and pepper. And last but not least, those tomatoes. After that cooks down for a while, he transfers the chunky ketchup into a tall jar and finishes it off with an immersion blender. Next, mayo. He kicks it off with 2 eggs, adds in Dijon mustard, champagne vinegar, and salt, and gives it a good mix. Then it's time to slowly add in the grapeseed oil. He starts with just little tiny bits at a time, and then he keeps going in a slow, continuous stream. Check out how it's thickening. Taste test and add in the final bits of salt and a squeeze of lemon. Who could forget the mustard? Not Dan. It's only 4 ingredients. He mixes mustard powder, white wine vinegar, warm water, and salt. Gives it a stir and it's ready to go. What about those buns? After 2 to 3 hours, the dough should be doubled in size. He cuts into 8 pieces and uses the scale to make sure they are all even. On a floured surface, he starts by flattening out the dough and then folds it over itself until it starts to round out. He then places the dough balls onto parchment paper, covers with plastic wrap, and lets them rise for another hour. What's a burger without a side? Dan's trying his take on Cool Ranch Doritos. Have you ever had a wonton chip? If not, you should definitely give them a try. He starts by cutting wonton wrappers into triangles and lays them out on an oiled pan and brushes with more oil. Then into the oven for a couple minutes. He takes them out, flips them over, and then back into the oven for another couple minutes. He transfers those to a big bowl. While they're in the oven, he makes the powder. It's salt, tomato powder, tomato stock powder, buttermilk powder, cheese powder, powdered sugar, onion powder, dill, and garlic powder. He gives it a whisk, sifts it over the baked wontons, and tosses them to make sure everything is coated. Taste test time, and he approves. We're getting so close. Let's get back to those buns for our final step. He makes a quick egg wash and brushes over the dough for that shiny finish. And into the oven they go. Fire up the grill! He places the patty onto a hot grill, lets them cook, flips, and then adds a slice of that American cheese. Now it's time to assemble this totally from scratch burger. He adds the mustard, the mayo, the ketchup, and that cheesy patty. He tops it off with 3 beautiful pickles. OMG, yum! He makes it official with a foil wrap, and there you have it. A cheeseburger and chips made totally from scratch. What should Dan make next? Let us know in the comments below. And subscribe to our channel for more Dan Can episodes.